Welcome back. It is Sunday the 25th of January 2026 and I'm doing some more dot and dab plasterboarding today. So this is now all set solid. There is no flexibility in that at all, so that's gone off lovely. It looks like it's pretty much stayed nice and flat and straight as it's dried. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do this bigger one here. So I'm going to measure the size, hopefully cut that from one of the sheets of plasterboard. Again, dry fit it, make sure it all looks okay, and then we'll do this one. But I think I'm going to do this one first, and then a little sliver in there, which is about 200 millimeters. But yeah, it's a little bit of a mess in here from yesterday. You can see why plasterers get a bit of a bad name for being messy, because loads of little spots. But again, don't care about the floor because the floor is going to be replaced with some chipboard flooring anyway. But yeah, let's get some measuring. Let's dry fit this one, see how it looks, go from there. Right, so I have put the last two boards in. There is a 20 millimeter run out from top to bottom, which is, yeah, just making the best of a bad situation. I mean, there's going to be a bedside table, bed there. The headboard goes up to about that high, so I don't think you're really going to notice it. The board was sucking back, so what I did is I just used a offcut of this roofing batten, and I used some hot glue to glue it to the board, and that's now perfectly straight and it's all flat across this wall. I was hoping that, and I am hoping that, because it's hot glue, it's not actually bonding with the wall. It's not going into the paper, so I'm hoping that I can kind of cut that off nice and neatly once that's dried. But yeah, nice reveals still at the top. Like I say, once a plaster has been, no idea whether they will remain. But if I can take a step back through the mess, really happy. That's my first wall done, dot and dabbed. I decided that I'm going to add the sockets on after, which I'm sure the pros would be like, no, you should have cut them out of the plasterboard before. But the method to the madness is where this wall is so bowed when it was built. You can see the brickwork lovely there, and it's sitting, I don't know, 15 mil behind where the plasterboard is. But as we go along this way, you can see how much that wall goes back. We can't see that little bare edge of the floorboards anymore. It comes out. So yeah, probably not the best job. A professional would probably absolutely hammer me, but I'm really happy. As a DIY, I've never done it before. Now what I'm doing is big tidy up, organise all of the offcuts of plasterboard. I don't want to throw anything away that I don't need to, but I want to organise it all, probably get it all laying down against this batten and boarded wall so that we can get access to the radiator that's behind these boards over here. So I'm not going to time lapse it or anything because it's really boring, but let's tidy everything up, get everything reorganised, get all my Milwaukee stuff back piled over there, and then we can start on the next job. Right, so as you can see, we've cleared an area off here so that we can take this rad off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I've done downstairs. dog toy. So we've got a length of hose on the drain down. To get it over the drain down, just warm it up. I'll just put a bit of hot water, like boiling water from the kettle, into a shot glass and just put it in there for 15 seconds. And then what we're going to do, for some reason I can't find my tool, so we'll use some pliers. And we will open the valve. Make sure that bit stays shut. You can just start to hear it. And then instead of routing it all the way outside, I've just got that coming down into the toilet. So I'll give it a second and that should start to, there you go, start to drain down. All of the nastiness water in there. So what we'll do is we'll loosen that off as much as we can. You can hear that now, it's nice and loud. All coming out into the toilet. Exactly what we want. And then what we will do is we will come back upstairs. And again, I've spent 20 minutes looking for a tool, can't find it. You've got the bleeder valve there. I'm literally just gonna leave that because that's dripping. But what I'm gonna do is, once it drains down a little bit, open that valve. It allows air in from the top and it allows it to keep draining downstairs. This will probably take 30 to 40 minutes. What's the time now? It's already nearly 20 past 1. We'll get this rad off, we'll cap the pipes, then we can take that bit of skirting board off. But I also today want to try and get the rad off in the bedroom, because this rad also doesn't have a TRV and I want to get the new rad fitted in the place and hopefully plumb that up as well, so we've got some heating in the bedroom that can be regulated. But yeah, all I'm going to do between now and when I show you again is let that drain down and then we can start disconnecting. But yeah, it literally is as simple as that. Turn your boiler off, turn the heating thermostat all the way down, and then undo your rads. This is a combi boiler, I don't know whether it's different to any other one. Right, so the central heating system has been draining for the last 15 minutes or so. Still going downstairs, but what you want to do is you want to turn off the valves that you've got. So just turn them clockwise, and then what we're going to do, going to use your pliers here and just crack that off. God, that one was super tight. Once we undo that one, then that will disconnect it from the central heating system. I've also turned off the, closed that bleeder valve there, and then we should be able to just lift it off the wall. As you can see behind, there is just a bracket there and in the middle and on the right hand side, and it literally just lifts off and pulls towards you. So I'm going to do that now. And this is what it looks like as soon as we've taken the rad off. So just turn it upside down in case these valves are not fully sealing. If you turn it upside down, any of the water and yuckiness will go to the other end. Same on that side. And this is what you're left with. Look at all this lovely mould and dust and disgustingness. Yeah. And that's it. I'm going to cap that off. So I'll grab my plumbing box, show you what we'll use to cap that off. I might even have one in here. We'll literally use one of these. So they come as a two-parter. And what you do is you put that over the pipe, and we just tighten it on there. And obviously we'll use 2 pliers and we'll tighten that up, but that will be the central heating system then closed back off again, and we can look at taking the rad off in the bedroom, which is going to be exactly the same as what we're doing in here. But yeah, things like these, lifesaver. So if you can buy a pack, keep them in your toolbox so that you've got them to hand. You never know when you're going to cap it off, if someone sends you the wrong rad, or the rad is damaged, or you need to go out and get valves or anything. Good thing to have. But yeah, on to the next one. So that is the rad removed from our bedroom as well. I've also measured the width of the window and put a mark in the center there so that we can make sure that our new rad is centered. The rad that was here was 1600 wide, and our new one is 1686 without valves. So we're probably going to have to do a little bit of messing around with the pipework. But just to let you know that this is going to be a temporary plumbing into the central heating system, because when we get round to doing this bedroom, we will replace all of these old copper pipes for new ones. So it's just to kind of control the heat in this room, because it's either red hot or freezing cold. So yeah, let's get cracking with that. Right, so this is the new rad. We have got a 3-column rad, horizontal. This is 1686 wide by 600 high, and it comes with these brackets. So this is the bracket that you put on the rad, and literally what we're going to do today is we're going to make a hole in the plastic wrap that's protecting it. And looking at the instructions, it needs to be 110 mil from the top down, and it needs to be on the third, in between the second and third one. And there's 6 of these, and we need to do pretty much the opposite on the bottom. Do all of that, and then we'll work out our measuring for putting the brackets on the wall there, and we'll get it bolted up. Right, so we have mounted all these brackets. I did these ones, it says minimum 65 on the assembly instructions, but actually you can't do 65 because it hits that bottom pipe. So I've done 75 mil, 75 mil, 75 mil, 110, 110, 110. I've just measured from the floor to where the window board will be, which is 760. So we've got 160 mil playing room. So it is probably going to be a little bit lower, but that's fine. I probably want it about 20 mil below the window board so that it can still kind of get a nice amount of air out and it doesn't look like it's hitting it. So what I'm going to do now is I need to measure 20 mil down from there, and then what you want to do is you actually want to measure, how I do it is I measure from the top of here to the bottom here, and then that's where we're going to put our first bracket, and I'll show you what I mean when I do it. But yeah, let's do some more measuring. Right, so I thought I would show you rather than just do it. So what I do is I get the bracket, this is the bit that we're going to bolt to the wall. I put the 2 little plastic things in that are a right pain in the backside. I put that on now and I hold it level, and then what I do is I measure from the end of the top of the rad down to the bracket, which is 142. Now once we've got that, I'm just going to write that down so I don't forget it. 142. So we actually want to be 20 mil below the window board. So we're actually going to be 16, instead of 162, I will do 160 because it's easier to do. And then what we're going to do is we're going to measure the width, the spacing between this bracket and the other brackets along, center to center. So they should be the same. So we'll hold it on the little screw there. That is 735, and then we'll go center to center there, 735. And what we will do is on the wall, so So I move you around here. What I will do is I will measure down 160 on this end, put my mark, and that's going to be where the top of the bracket is. And then all we need to do is measure across from our center marks. So sorry, I did use a laser and I put the center marks on here. We actually want to go 735 that way and 735 that way, which will mean that when the mounts are on, it sits bang in the center. Let's get some marking and drilling. Right, so ping the laser on the center. That's going to be the top of our first bracket. And then I measured 735 out there and 735 out there. That's going to be the top of our brackets. Right, and now the way that I mark the top brackets to the bottom brackets is I put the brackets on the rad, exactly the same as what I did before, and then I hold them in position. It's a little bit more awkward. Keep them level, and then from the top of that bracket to the top of the next bracket is 380 millimeters. So nice round numbers. I can go back over to the wall here. I can look at where our mark is, and I can go 380 and ping a mark there, and that will be the top of, sorry, here. This will be the top of our bottom row brackets. Now we'll get that, do a straight line across, measure our 735s again, and then we can start drilling some holes. And after drilling all your holes, bolting on the bracket, so I used the 6 bolts that were in the old one, and then I also used 6 100mm screws because the bolts were absolutely great condition from the old radiator, so they're really strong. So I put that back on. As you can see, nice and level. It's on there, it's solid, it's not going anywhere. But now you can see where we've got our problem is this pipework is right where we need it to be. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to unwrap the rad at the ends. So I'll keep this bit protected for now because I'm going to be brushing up against it and moving around. And I'm going to have a little figure out how to do the plumbing for this rad. Again, it's temporary, but I still want it to look nice. So I'll let you know how I get on. But yeah, looks much better than the old rad. Right, so temporary plumbing done. So I just did an offset bend with my pipe benders. I didn't show it because I'm not the best. This is only the second one I've ever done. So as you can see, it's not perfectly vertical, but it really doesn't matter for this job. And then over here, this one was a bit more of a pain in the backside, but again, another offset. As you can see, this isn't pointing perfectly vertical, but these pipe holes will be moved across when we redo this room. It's just because if you look outside, we're running out of light. Don't even know what the time is. What's the time? It's 3:45. And I want to start putting some pressure back in the heating before the temperature massively drops outside. So I'm just going to nip all of these up and then change my drain valve downstairs. It was leaking when I drained it last time, so I got a new one. I'm going to fit that, and then I'm going to pressurize the system and go from there. Right, so that is another weekend in the bag, and for once I think it was a really good bit of progress this weekend. So as you know, we have plasterboarded, dot and dabbed this whole wall. This rad has been taken off and the pipework just capped. So next week we can take off the brackets, steam off the wallpaper, take off the skirting board, repair anything that we need to do, and find a plasterer to come in and skim all of these areas. Obviously we have also fitted the rad in the bedroom. Yeah, fitted the rad in the bedroom. I've literally just bled the system. It is working exactly how I expected it to work. It's absolutely fine. Yes, the pipework doesn't look amazing, but again, it's temporary. It's just so that we can control the temperature in that room a little bit more than we could before. I've got another couple more radiators. So in the office, which is behind me there, we've got a vertical column rad that I'm going to fit. And we've also got a new one for the lounge as well. So going to be changing them rads in the next week or two, get them done. And then obviously once this room's plastered, we've got another radiator coming to go in here, which will be awesome, that this room can be plastered, painted, new rad, and then we'll change the floor as well at the same time. Yeah, really happy with the weekend's progress. See how we get on tomorrow. I've got loads of bits to do. I'll probably get these brackets off, this skirting board off, and I'll maybe even test fit the rad in the office, so I'll show you that as well. But thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy following on this journey, and I'll see you tomorrow.